Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me ZENA, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. And every week to listen to me. It's greatly appreciated. And today I have two amazing guests, as usual. I have my husband, Steve, and I have Freddie. Dawn, if you're listening, just want to say I hope you're feeling better, and I really, really miss you, and I'll see you in a few days. I hope you're okay, and I know you're okay, but I just miss seeing you, so we'll see you in the studio this time next week. We'll have our show all together again with Dawn, Freddie, and Steve, although you won't be here next week. Okay.
Where are you going?
I will be in Dayton, Ohio.
Really?
So we're not going to broadcast from there, right?
No.
Well, okay. I think there's only half of me and no Steve, but that's okay.
Let's go to full length.
There we go. Hi, everybody. All right. So please, if you have any questions, today's subject is, are we alone? I love that. It's to do with aliens and anything that you may have seen that you think is a little unusual. I'm here to answer the best I can your questions. So here we go. First of all, I'll turn it over to Steve.
So we know that you haven't been alone. You've traveled, at night, and you have visited planets, and you've had otherworldly entities work on you. Or could you tell about some of your experiences?
Well, yeah, actually, if my viewers know that I have written a book, and that's a good intro for my book, because most of the experiences that I had, I have documented in my book. I was astral projecting all over the place. You viewers probably know more than I knew at that time, because I didn't know what that was, but I was flying to many different places, including planets. But this is going back about 20 years ago, and I was very reluctant, actually, at that point to even have the book published, because I don't know what anyone would have thought about me. However, today it's much more acceptable. So people talk about there's going to be disclosure. I completely believe that there will be disclosure, and I believe soon.
So you have visited other planets, and then you've had aliens visit you.
Exactly. Now, that might sound weird, but you've seen it. I mean, you haven't actually seen them, but you've seen me on one of my travels. So at least I have you to verify that.
So most people, I guess, don't get to do both?
To both doing?
Both visit other planets and have aliens visit them?
No, they have to pick you up somewhere. So they pick you up, they visit you, and then they take you. I mean, we're making lighthearted of it, but actually it really does exist. I can tell you with 100% that I have visited different planets. You have seen me when I came back one time when I was completely paralyzed, and it's something now that I feel very, okay talking about it. And I think...
And more about this will be coming out as general knowledge.
I believe so, yes. I think so, because there are many people today, and especially that people have, we have cameras all over the place. We carry our phone with a camera. So there are many, many pictures of I'm going to say, of spaceships up there in our universe and many different planets. Now, of course, right now, it is only hearsay from me and everybody that's seen them, but it will be shown. I'm absolutely certain of that. I think we have some questions from the viewers.
We have questions, but I think it's important that what Steve is talking about, because the questions are going to be asked about things that people answered that says, we are not alone. Have you seen anything? So it's not going to make sense to people listening to this unless we understand what the definition is of we are not alone means. Is it always aliens? Is it something that comes in your dreams as a message? Is it multidimensional? Is it out of body? I mean, there's a lot of ways to answer this.
Each one of everything you just said, because that does encompass the whole lot. I've seen things, I've been out of my body, I actually feel entities, so it does encompass everything, depending. I've actually seen quite a little bit. Most people might, not most people, a lot of people might just zoom in on one of the things that they've seen aliens. I think aliens and being psychic and a lot of the things that I have experienced all go together, actually. I think maybe we do all see that, everything that you just described.
Well, I'll give you an example. First question. Emily Wilson from California writes, I've been experiencing strange noises in my attic at night. Now, the key words there is noises attic and only at night, not during the day, which is strange in itself, right?
Yeah.
Can you help me figure out what's causing it?
Well,
let's assume it's not a rat.
I was just going to say it could be a mouse or a rat,
that.
because the at night, it's not always at night, but she's hearing it at night. So without her being able to, that I can ask her a question, I just feel that maybe it could be, in fact, get a terminator, so we'll get that out, and then maybe talk to me more about it, because it could be obviously an entity, well, not a seeing entity up there, but somebody that's up there that maybe if you've had other things happen and occur in your house, then I would say possibly definitely bring somebody in to find out what it's all about.
Well, what she's looking for is whether or not there's an explanation that it happens always at night.
No, I don't believe so, because I without talking to her, in her particular case, yes, it's happening at night, so we'd have to rule out definitely some sort of rat or a termite of some kind, a squirrel even. That sounds nicer than a rat, right? But without actually knowing, or is it a certain time that it happens? Is there other things happening in her house? It's kind of hard without being able to actually talk to her if she feels like calling in, absolutely.
Have you had daytime experiences?
Not as much as I have had at night. No, I've had a few because I give messages, so I feel entities around me and I can describe an entity. But actually traveling to different places, no, that's only occurred between 3 and 5 in the morning, which I have written in my book. Mainly I would wake up at 3 and then go back to sleep, and these things happen to me. But everybody's different. Everybody's different.
And speaking of your book, if you want to get Sally's book, you can scan the QR code on the screen or go to Amazon, Call Me ZENA, Z-E-N-A, or Author House.
And why is it that most, let's assume it's an entity or something is coming, normally always happens at night. When you dream, like you and I talked about one time, that I was traveling, which I still to this day don't understand, but that I was traveling, but it doesn't happen during the day. I don't think, Steve, you've ever had an incident that happens.
Yeah, but it can. It's not out of the question that it wouldn't happen.
But it never does.
To you maybe, and even to me mainly, but you could daydream, or you could suddenly fall asleep and find yourself somewhere else. I mean, many, many people do experience that. I personally haven't had too much other than giving people messages, and I feel entities. Well, yes, I have actually. You saw me a couple of weeks ago when I said, I think I'm out of it at that time, and you said to me, I looked like I was about to die, because I was traveling at that particular time. Many things.
You were awake?
Well, I wasn't, but you wouldn't know that I wasn't. I mean, Steve, I just was.
But at night or during the day?
No, this was during the day. This was during the day. I felt it coming on. I mean, I'm aware now of some of the sensations that you're going to feel, you know.
That's craziness. So
Yeah.
I know that I lived in a house in the Bronx that I had to call somebody in because there was noises of chains and children crying at night, never during the day. And it was throughout the house, and I zeroed in. It was either the basement or the attic because it was going through the walls. And I called somebody in to bless the house, and it went away.
So that was a good example of that. There definitely was something there, because we say it's at nighttime, but many people, when we call a haunted house, when there are things and entities in that house, very often they can be standing at a sink or just sitting watching TV, and they'll see something flying across the room. That's during the day. I mean, I don't go out of my way to see these horror movies, but I think you did see one a little while ago.
Yeah, well,
So
I hope we're not talking about horror movies. I'm talking about in my real life that it happened
no,
here.
We're talking about movies. And somebody can just, well, an entity is going to maybe throw something, or something will move. How many people say, well, oh my gosh, I saw that move? Well, it happens. I don't think we're more aware, although it sounds crazy, because we're aware of what's going on during the day, but I think in some ways we take in more when we're at night, because if we're sleeping and we have a dream and we happen to remember the dream or parts of the dream, or I have woken up Not many times because I'm not aware that I'm paralyzed, but Steve has seen me paralyzed. I wasn't able to talk. So it's in a relaxed state, but you can be in a relaxed state.
So are you
anytime.
saying there aren't entities, it's just our awareness?
Just, well, there are entities, absolutely, but our awareness is what we need to make sure that we know that it's entities, because without any awareness, we would have no idea what was going on.
Okay, then
it's our
getting
consciousness.
Okay, then getting back to the question is, they want to know what kind of, Emily wants to know, what are they trying to make her aware of?
Well, if it's entities or her place, if her house is haunted in any way, we use the word haunted. Let's just say she has entities in there. They're trying to make their presence known. And
To her.
how do they, to her or whoever is in that particular house with her? Because that's all they're trying. I don't believe that they're here to really scare us. Yes, we hear horror stories, but the majority, and I'll go to say that too with aliens, they are not here to scare us. They want to let us know that they are around.
Right.
So that goes on to aliens, you know, that we would call aliens too. Aliens is slightly different because an alien is from another, from what I see and what they're pointing out to me right now, they're from another planet in our, here. So they're coming in for a visitation. If we hear somebody that we don't see, well, we see aliens, or we can see what we call ghosts, but they're here more to make their presence known, that they're maybe in the house, that they're in between the two worlds type of thing. There is a difference. There's a difference.
Gotcha. Okay, David Lee from New York, long time watcher. I guess David has written in before. I've been seeing shadowy figures out of the corner of my eye. Now this one, I think we're all familiar with.
Right.
Am I losing my mind, or is there something more going on that I could tell you firsthand? It happens to me all the time.
That you see something out of the corner of your eye.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then you look again and there's
It's
nothing
not
there.
there. Well, that's their way of trying to get your attention again. All these things are trying to get our attention, basically. It's not to scare us. Unfortunately, what happens, we get scared when we see that happen, and then they either go away or we're not in tune with them at that particular time anymore. The best thing to do is just relax and say hello.
I don't think they stick around long enough for me to say hello.
Well, I think they've been
I
trying
think-
to contact you, Freddie.
Well, it's like I see things always out of the corner of my
yeah,
eye.
like a shadow.
But then
or
I
something.
hear to have a conversation.
Well, you don't know that because you need to acknowledge
Well, when I
them.
try to go have a conversation,
They disappear?
they're gone.
Well, okay, well, try next time and say, I'm here, I want to have a conversation, okay?
You ever
Maybe
have
they're-
anything out of the corner of your eye?
I do.
No,
Never. In all your years,
I don't think so.
you never did a double take on something that says, what the hell was that? Never?
Well, that's something different than I think you were describing.
Oh, my goodness me.
That's the corner.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the corner of
Are
the
we
eye.
still there?
Are we still on the
They're
air?
playing games with us because we're talking about this.
But
Seriously.
this is
There you go. They're
this is
here.
my point.
Absolutely, and we've had that in the studio, and you have that door up there open. So they know that we're talking about them right now. That's a really good example. You think that was coincidence that was
I
happening just
don't
now? We
think
can
so,
put it as
but you're the
coincidence.
psychics. You
But
tell
I
me.
don't think so. I think that was the synchronicity moment, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why would we suddenly, we're talking about things going bang or knocking or whatever, and we hear that. So there, you see it live on my show.
That wasn't good.
They're not here to scare us, and they like that. I think they were saying, no, we're not here to scare you.
And it's not just aliens. You said it could be, spirits. It could be
Yeah.
people from your past.
See, an alien is a visitation, more or less. So if you see, and they are amongst us, because we said, are we alone? They are amongst us here. They just haven't yet, there is disclosure, and it has happened, but we're not ready, majority of people are not ready to actually see the disclosure, and I think we're coming to, is he saying 1, 2? Oh, okay. All right. So, but if you hear, or just now, that was, as far as I can interpret that, because it was strange that we were talking about things making a noise, that we suddenly hear that, that's a spirit trying to get our attention here. It's not necessarily an alien that's going to show up. Difference, there's a difference.
So here's a question for you. In your world travels, not otherworldly travels, have you had experiences like this other places other than when you're home in your bed?
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't matter just because I'm at home. I may feel more comfortable. Perhaps they feel that. But no, people are abducted all the time, actually, from different places. They can be abducted driving I don't want to scare my viewers, but anybody listening here knows that this show can take many different avenues, and they can be abducted, yes. I had that. I was actually in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I had an experience staying in a place there. So no, it doesn't matter where it is. It can happen anywhere, anytime. If you're ready. If you're ready. If you're not, you're going to get scared. And I think being scared seems to send them away too, because they're polite. They figure they're not welcome necessarily.
Yeah, I would definitely welcome them. I just haven't had the experience for some reason.
Okay, well, let's see what happens from here on in. And Freddie, I believe, has. You've had experiences.
It depends. I'm trying to define what the hell is an experience.
Well, something out of the usual, out of the ordinary.
Well, I just told you.
If you see things out of the corner of your eye, whereas Steve hasn't, I have, and you have, that means they're hanging around you right now, and then we may hear
hanging
another
around
bang.
me all the time. The question is, you told me to have a conversation with them.
Well, then you
That
saw what
doesn't
happened.
happen.
They answered you with a bang on the...
No.
Okay,
That
next
has
time.
been because of you.
Next time they let you feel them, or you see something, and you see somebody up there now, he does. He's very psychic. Just you.
You
Just
believe this?
say, you know, I actually knew somebody that used.
Well, there's something not right about her. I can tell you that.
Now he's found out.
But
Okay.
sometimes when you see things out of the corner of your eye, now I told you the story about that corner, right?
Yes, you did.
I even dreamt about that corner.
Yes, you did.
I dreamt about being in that corner and looking down, and it was looking down your show. So that's a little freaky to begin with. So
not in my world. There's no.
you're not helping the case. So David is asking, simply asks, shadows. He doesn't ever see one. I don't believe that. Everybody must have seen a shadow.
Not necessarily. You are a little different, Freddie. You do see things that other people don't see.
I'm going to pull somebody out from the audience over there and ask them.
I recognize
Because
that.
shadows normally mean that they're among us. You ever, okay, I'll give you, ask him this question. Have you ever misplaced your keys?
Yeah, I've been.
And then you look and they're there all the time.
That's
Always in the last place that I look.
You ever walk by looking for your keys and then somebody says, they're right here. And then
Okay.
you walk by
I'm
them
sure
like
that's
this.
happened before in my life.
because we're
That's
not
happened.
always completely aware of what we're doing.
Or you think it's
sometimes.
aware. They were
Well,
there to begin with.
you
Nobody
think-
moved them and put
Or
them
they
back.
could be, they're playful ghosts. There's playful spirits. I don't keep wanting to call them ghosts because they're kind of stuck in between the two worlds, that the ones we can see.
But that you got. That you
Well,
got, right?
Yeah, but I never looked at it as, they were there all the time. They weren't there when I looked, and now they're there. I never had that in my mind.
Well, I have looked for things, and then somebody comes along and says, Freddie, they're right here. And they lift them. And I walk by them 152 times, give or take 100.
Yeah, well, you mentioned
Okay,
you mentioned car keys. It's like the experience.
Something totally different. Now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's like the experience you had in Celebration
That's correct.
when you first moved in there, and about the woman who.
Who appeared from nowhere and told me to put. I did mention it on the show. I could not find my keys when I had just moved into a new apartment, and it was like 2 in the morning. And it was earlier because I wanted to go and get something to eat. But I had no car keys, and I'd go outside. Maybe I had dropped them. I'd put everything away, having moved and thrown everything out. And this lady appeared from next door, I thought, and she said to me, "Go inside, put half a glass of water on top of your refrigerator, and concentrate on your keys." And I thought, well, she's crazy, but there's no harm in doing that. I didn't know what I knew at that time. I sat there, and then within 2 minutes, I go to a closet in my apartment, go to the tool chest, open it up, and there are my keys. Well, I don't use tools, let alone put my keys in there. So that's a similar experience.
I never saw the woman again.
I never saw the woman again. So in a way, it's some sort of explanation on the lines that you were talking about.
Explanations, that's just a haunting.
Well, yeah, but it was okay because she was there to help me. I never saw that lady again.
Okay, let me get this right. If they help you, it's not a haunting, it's good. But if something bad goes on, it's a haunting?
No, not necessarily, because depending on what we call as bad. If they're showing up, most of the time they're here to just to be acknowledged or to help you find something. Again, there could be something else too, because we switch, I'm not going to say dimensions, both are a whole another show, but we switch timelines, which I'm sure our viewers at this point will know that a little bit about timelines, because it's becoming quite known now that we do switch timelines. So that could mean that you're on another timeline, but we can do a show about that, and I can explain more to the best of how I can do that. So you're in a different timeline, Freddie, and you haven't experienced.
Now you notice that she just introduced a new explanation. Now we're doing timelines, which I thought that that's how she was going to start with this.
Well, yeah, I could have done, because you do switch timeline. I've seen you in another timeline. You know that.
You see me, okay.
Yes.
Yes. I've had a timeline experience or
Yes.
two, but I really don't fully understand how.
I don't know which one you're talking
Well,
about.
like when we were in the car, and I saw that the truck at the intersection, I turned to talk to you for 2 seconds, and I turned back, and the
Yeah.
truck was gone, and I know the truck didn't turn.
And that's a very good example, because they seem to do that in cars. I've had in Merida, if you're watching the show, we had that. We saw two cars speeding like crazy when I was down visiting her. And we both saw two cars. We saw the colors, we saw everything, and then they suddenly disappeared. There was nothing on that road. There certainly wasn't two cars. I have had an experience on one of the streets near us where I saw an ambulance. I'm driving along, and I had to turn around, and I came back that way like 3 minutes later, and there was no ambulance, there was nothing. There was nothing. I just won't go down that particular intersection. That you know that now,
Right.
because I have seen that. So it can be a warning. It could be a timeline. It could be real. It could be that it's nothing. You know, we just don't know that.
Do we have another question, Frank?
Yes. Ava Patel from Texas, again, another long-time seer.
Hi.
I've been having recurring dreams about an old abandoned house. What does this mean, if anything? Is it connected to my past? Well, only he can answer that.
Well, yeah, that's why I think it's from another lifetime. Usually, when somebody says that, we're getting images of other previous lives, and we see certain buildings or houses that we have lived in, and then you can actually can prove that, because people can say what they've seen, never being there, and they know what was in the house, and then they look it up if it happens to be written down in history, and it's exactly what they've described. So I don't know without talking to him the situation.
Wow.
But that can happen, absolutely. It's proven.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You ever have a dream about an old abandoned house?
No,
Do you dream at all?
very rarely.
Very rarely.
Very
You
rarely.
just don't remember your dream.
I had a dream actually last night. Well, it was actually early morning when I fell back asleep. That I was in some room that had all kinds of sound equipment in it, and I was dreaming about all the great music that was coming out of the walls, and then I was wondering if it would work with my hearing aids through Bluetooth. I remember that distinctly, thinking about that, but then I woke up. So
I don't know, it's the first I heard of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I meant to mention it to you, but I didn't.
Okay.
You asked.
Interesting. Interesting. Let's go to Michael Brown of Florida.
Hi, Michael.
I've been finding strange symbols etched into my property. Can you help me understand what they mean and who's doing it? I'm going to tell you something. That happened to me. I'm running.
Well, it's on his
Etched
property.
into my
He can't
property.
run away from his property. But I would think that maybe
That's like crop circles. Is that what they call it?
they have crop circles. Yeah.
Where they come from?
From other planets. People coming down here to do that. Not all of them. Some are. They've actually, I think, called people doing them, but the majority, I believe, are definitely. It's an experience. They come here and they're gone. And nobody sees them. So going back to his situation, it possibly is something there too. I mean, without seeing the symbols, and if it's just happening, it seems like it's something going on there. Yeah. something going on. You know, we're talking about it lightly, but truthfully, if you're really having a problem, and these people out there writing to me, asking questions, there are many people out there, like we call them the Ghostbusters or whatever you want to call them. There are people that go into houses that are haunted, that figure out these things on the premises, and they will explain to you. They take all sorts of equipment in, and the equipment will show people. It'll be, you can hear them, or they see them. So it's not just me saying this, it's all being proven what we're talking about.
Etched into my property.
Yes, well, someone's doing that, if he hasn't done it, or it could be a kid. You know, it could be anything, but the thing is, if you get concerned about it, or it's happening frequently, then there are people you can call in. So I'm not taking that question lightly. You know, it's hard for me without seeing what's happened or talking to him exactly what's going on, but there are professionals out there that will do this.
Well, if I get up in the morning and I look out the window and my property is upside down, or somebody's planted something, it's time to go.
It's time to call somebody, yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's not normal for.
Well, he said that it's edged into his property, right? So in other words, it's
maybe he's
pointed.
finding like symbols or something.
Yes, and I believe
That's
they
even
do
worse.
that. They do that.
That's even
And
worse.
many of them, you know, that you can see, and this has also been proven too, that you can only see the symbols from up in the air. That happened in Peru. I think there's something called something lines, if somebody wants to call in it, where you go up in a plane and you can see only the symbols
Yeah.
from above.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so
But they still don't have an explanation for that.
oh yeah, they have an explanation similar to what I would explain that it would be, that it's done from somewhere else. And they obviously had, because again, this is all going to go into a different show, but they had technology thousands of years ago. They were able to do this. They're trying to give us messages. It will be known. I don't know if it will be in my lifetime because I'm getting old, but eventually we will know all about this.
Well, that's been around for hundreds of years, no?
It's been around for thousands and thousands of years, but people
It's gonna be your
you know,
lifetime and a
it's
few
funny.
others.
We were talking about this, Steve, the other day. History goes back, in my world, a lot longer than what we actually recorded. But there is something called, you know the story that I've told you about how this all began on Earth, but it's actually printed on tablets. And you know where the tablets are? In the History Museum in London, because Aldo, my guide here, told me when I go to London to check them out. It's called, I think, The Lost Book of Enki. And it's actually written, my story that I've told you, when Earth was here, before it was populated like that, and how it all happened. But people, I'm not saying the people that are listening to the show, because they're listening to the show to hear all this, but many people walk around with blinders, with their eyes closed, and they don't want to either believe it or don't even want to mess with it. But if you start researching, anybody